Hi, everybody. It's Kelly Russell, the Rock Your Joy Coach, and I'm here to talk with you today about masks. It's Halloween. I hope that's kind of obvious. And I love Halloween so much. It's one of my favorite days of the year. I love the costumes and the decorations, the crazy get-ups and skeletons and the alter egos that we all step into, and just seeing all that festivity everywhere. And it's just one of those holidays that everybody just seems to be in a really great mood and happy and excited and joyful, and so nothing wrong with that. I love it. But it does make me think about the symbolism. So All Hallows Eve, the night of Halloween, it is the day before the celebration of the Day of the Dead, or of All Saints Day leading into All Souls Day, all of which in various traditions in the world are celebrations of the time when the veil between the physical and non-physical worlds seems to be the thinnest, and that we honor those who have made their transitions before us and can feel their presence and join with them and party with them, and feel that they are with us. And so I love that aspect of it as well. But in talking about masks and costumes, I have a lot of thoughts about it. One of which is that this world, this world is the biggest costume party, the biggest masquerade ball ever in literally the history of the universe. That's exactly what it is. We are all wearing costumes. We are all masquerading and wearing masks, literally, and pretending to be something that we are not, that we've adopted an alternate persona. But instead of it being, like one day of the year, like it is here with Halloween, it's all the time. And instead of us knowing that we're in costume and, having fun with it and just, having a giggle about it and being like, yeah, this is really fun that I'm dressing up as this, whatever, this alternate part of myself, whether I'm, a goddess or a witch, or whether I'm a monster, or I'm, some character from a movie or a superhero or whatever it is, that I know that I'm dressing up and I know that I'm wearing a mask and a costume. I know that it's all pretend, and I'm just letting myself have a blast with it. And I'm seeing all my brothers the same way. When I'm at a Halloween party, I'm not like, oh my God, you're like, I'm in a room with a monster right now. Like, holy shit, like, what am I going to do? How am I going to get away from you? Like, oh my God, you're really a werewolf, or you're going to kill me. You're the Grim Reaper, and you've got that big axe in your hand, and I have to get away from you, and that's who you really are. Like I'm, when you're at a Halloween party, you're not, you might be like in character, and you might be, having some fun with the fact that someone is dressed up in a certain way, but you don't lose sight of the fact that it's a costume and that that's not really who they are. And yet in this world, this crazy masquerade ball that is going on 24/7, we do believe that. We believe that about our brothers, and we believe that about ourselves, and we think that this body, we think that it's real, and we think that their personality and that whatever appears to be going on with them and the way that they're behaving and what seems to be happening in the world is all real. And yet, A Course in Miracles teaches us that it is not. That's a central teaching that the Course espouses is that there is no world, that this is a projection, it's an illusion, it's a mass hallucination that we're making up in our minds. It's literally a gigantic masquerade ball costume party. And so if we can actually remember that as we're going through our day, as you're looking at me right now, especially if you see me on here every week, you know that I'm not usually in this kind of a getup. You know that I don't dress like this, and that this isn't really who Kelly Russell is. And you know that I'm just having fun with it, and I'm just doing this to make a point, right? Or I'm getting into character. And so what if we saw our brothers like that? What if when somebody is behaving in a way that we perceive to be insanely, or they're saying or doing something that we don't like, or we don't agree with, or we are in judgment about, or condemnation about, what if we just remembered that this is just a costume they're wearing? This is just a mask that they've adopted, that they're wearing in this particular moment. And then I can remember the truth of them. And that my brother may have actually forgotten that they're wearing a costume and they're wearing a mask. It's like they got all dressed up for this Halloween party, and then they spaced out and they forgot they were wearing it, and they think they're coming across as themselves, and really they're still wearing that mask and in that costume, but they don't know it. And so they think that that's really who they are. They've forgotten what the truth of them is, and what's inside of all of these masks and all these costumes, all this masquerade that we have going on, is that we are all the same. We are all joined as one Son of God. In this world, it looks like we're all separate. We're wearing separate costumes and separate masks, and we're all dressed up differently, and we're in different characters. But when we peel away the mask and we shed the costume, we are all the light of the world. We are one Son of God. We are not separate. And the only way that we are going to remember that about ourselves and be able to reclaim our own identity as that Son of God, as that perfection, that innocence, that light, is to be able to see our brothers in that way. And then as we see our brothers, our vision of ourselves is corrected so that we can see ourselves reflected in that shining radiance that we are perceiving our brother in. And so, it's another way of looking at this. Several years ago, I went to a pumpkin carving party that my beloved niece had. It was such a blast. It was so much fun. And we were carving all these pumpkins in all these various ways, and it was just amazing. We lit them all up, and we had this big altar of all these pumpkins that are wearing all these different crazy faces, and some of them were scary and terrible. And there was actually a Day of the Dead, skull representation, and mermaids and monsters and cats and spiders and just all these things. And when we lit them all up in the middle of the night, it was so beautiful. And it was just these crazy faces all lit up from within. And I thought I was going to bring mine home, and I was going to put it out for Halloween, put it on my porch and whatever. And it was that was my plan. But I was in New Jersey, southern New Jersey, and it was very humid that October, and it was rainy, and the pumpkins were outside, and I was literally down there for like 3 days. And by the day that I was going to come home, I looked at this display of pumpkins, and they were lit up. It was the night before I was going to come home. They were lit up, but they were all like collapsing in on themselves, and they were all starting to rot and like get weird and wrinkled and distorted and ugly. And it was like, oh my God, I can't put that on my porch for Halloween. And I couldn't believe how different they looked. These cool, beautiful designs were just all completely different looking, but the light inside them was still shining, and every single one of them was still lit. And so that light was still coming out through whatever that physical process was that those pumpkins were going through of deteriorating. And again, it totally made me think about, that's what happens with us. That's what happens with the body. The body is, in our dream of the world, the body is not infinite. It's finite. And that's one of the reasons how we know that it's not real, because nothing of this world that is real is changeable. Nothing is able to be destroyed, And so, but what wasn't being destroyed and what was not distorted at all was the light that was shining out through those jack-o'-lantern faces. And I'll just never forget that. And that is just another way of thinking about the truth of who we are, is that light. The truth of who we are is what is behind the mask and what is underneath the costume and the masquerade. And what makes us feel in this world, what are we, we're masquerading, we're wearing all these different personas and personalities and these different identities, and that's what we say who we are. When someone asks you, who are you, what's our first response? My first response is, oh, I'm Kelly Russell, I'm the Rock Your Joy coach, right? And so we identify with something of the world. We identify with a label. We say we are a psychotherapist, we're a nurse, we're a teacher, we're a president, we're an astronaut, we're a mother, we're a father, we are a sister or brother, we're a spouse, a husband, a wife. We identify ourselves by all these different masks that we wear. We don't say, I'm a holy son of God. I'm the light of the world. I'm an extension of the love of God. Yet that is really who we really are. That is our real identity. That is the truth of us. And so being able to look at how we mask ourselves, and that the more that we can see the truth of our brother, as I said, and how do we do that? We do that by practicing the forgiveness, and the particular type of forgiveness called true forgiveness that A Course in Miracles offers and teaches, which is the vehicle to our shift in perception, which is the miracle. That miracle is the shift in perception and going from seeing through the eyes of fear, which is the projection of the body and the material world. And as we practice that kind of forgiveness, that miracle transforms our perception from that fear to love, where we are able to see, have our vision corrected, be able to see with Christ's vision, and we are able to then see the light and the love and the truth and the innocence that is in our brothers, and then thus be able to perceive it within ourselves. And so that's the way that we get to reconnect to the truth of ourselves, and to not be seeing our brothers and ourselves in their costumes with masks on and believing that that is the truth of them or the truth of ourselves. And so that's really my message for you today, is being able to, know that you're at a costume party. Know that this dream of the world is exactly that. It's just a masquerade ball. Knowing what is underneath the costume and behind the mask of your brother, and still being able to have fun with it, and still being able to be like, yeah, this is my character, this is what I'm playing, this is my role, and take it all very lightly, and seeing it for this pretend game that we're engaging in, and that we are engaging in it willfully. And that as we decide that we really would much rather, that it's much more fun to be ourselves, to be our true selves. And it's much more pleasurable and freeing to interact with the truth of who our brothers are, we can practice that forgiveness, and those masks fall away and those costumes fall away. The other piece of this I just want to say before I leave you today is that the ego is masquerading also. The ego is in costume, and it wears a lot of different kinds of masks itself. It masks itself. It wants to distract us from seeing the truth of our brothers and the innocence and truth within them and ourselves. It wants to take our attention away from knowing the truth of who we are, seeing the light of ourselves, being that light, embracing it, because it knows that as we do that, that is the death of the ego. That is the undoing of it. And so the ego wears its own costumes and masks and disguises itself in things like the relationship that we want, having all money in abundance, the things of the world, having a great job, having a wonderful house, going on all these vacations, spending our money on different things, distracting ourselves, having whatever it is. I could list a million things of what we put our attention on that we think that is going to be the thing that finally makes me happy. That is going to be the thing that finally brings me peace, makes me feel like I'm worthy, like I'm good enough, helps me to be able to sleep at night, lets me love myself. And the thing is that those are disguises. The ego is a master of illusion, literally, the master of the illusion of this world, and very skillfully giving us, putting up all these different shiny objects and these various, things that are supposed to make us feel like we're fixed and we're okay and we're not guilty, and we're, which is the ego's message to us, is that really no matter what you do, you're guilty, and you rejected God, and so God isn't going to have anything to do with you, and you're all alone, and I'm all you've got. But it can't really say that to us, right? Because it's, that feels too harsh. So instead, the ego is going to go with all these various things of like, oh, look how good it feels to have somebody totally love you so completely, that romantic love, and you're just perfect in their eyes, and that's available to you, and they're going to be like that forever, and they're never going to change, and they're never going to be angry, and that's how you're going to know that you're lovable and okay. Or you're going to have all this money, and so you're going to feel safe and protected, and you're going to feel like nothing can ever get at you, and you're not going to suffer, or it's going to focus you on the looks in the body and looking beautiful, looking youthful, or the health of the body, and you never getting sick, and that the body is going to be the representation of who you are, and that as long as the body looks perfect and feels perfect, then you can feel like you're perfect. And so it's all a bunch of ego bullshit, and it's all these masks and costumes that it wears to try and get us to believe that it is the truth, and it is this world is the real world. It's not. The world of heaven is not someplace that we go. It is actually an awareness of who we are. So as we practice that forgiveness that I talked about before, toward everything and everyone that we believe our happiness is based on, any grievance that we have, or any idea that we have that, I just need this and then I can be happy and at peace. Anything that is in our minds that we believe that is outside of ourselves that we believe can bring us that, all we need to do is practice that forgiveness toward it, and it transforms it, the miracle, from fear to love, and then we can see the truth reflected in whatever it is, that we can still have fun with all that stuff in the world. We can still enjoy our relationships even more. We can enjoy things even more greatly as we forgive our belief in them as being real, we can remember that we're at this big ass party and masquerade ball and costume party, but we can see behind each other's masks and see who we are and see the illusion of the world as just being the backdrop and the setting for this party that we're temporarily at, but knowing that it isn't the truth of us, that we're not who we are in these masks and costumes, and that this party is going to end. The more that we practice forgiveness and undo our egos, this party will end, and we will be home, in the home we never left, in this heavenly realm of knowing the truth of who we all are, which is so much better than any party we could be at in the world of form. It too is like an ongoing, totally amazing and awesome and epic party, but it's a party where everyone is just pure love and pure joy and peace and the eternal O. And so that's the party that I want to go to, and I fully intend to be seeing you there. So thanks again for joining me. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. Hit that subscribe button below. I'm here every week talking about the practical application of A Course in Miracles. And if you would like to experience going deeper with living A Course in Miracles in your life, consider booking a free coaching session with me. It is an hour session where we talk about what's going on in your life and how I might be able to help you to rock your joy in every area, your relationship with others, with yourself, and with God. So I love you so much. I'll see you next week. Happy Halloween.